I have some questions regarding some materials. So I'll make this a bit of fun, like a rapid fire round, but it does not have to be rapid. I'll mention a material. You just need to answer if it can be recycled or not recycled. And also, if you can briefly explain why or how. So, this will give some clarity to people regarding what items should be segregated for recycling.
We don't call it waste, we call it resources. And it wouldn't make sense for us to just dispose it in the landfill from the business point of view, right? But it's important for us to collect recyclables. So that's what the machines are for, to segregate it. It's really a matter of awareness. I thought, okay, why would I even segregate? Until, there are people who would show me that we turn this into a new product and they compare it versus starting from scratch of making this product, such as aluminum cans. If you produce aluminum cans, would take so many resources for so many time, expenses, etc. versus aluminum can being recycled within 60 days. It goes back to its shelf life with the same quality as the new produced aluminum. I think people appreciate it when they know what's happening with what they're doing, because somehow it makes them feel involved in the process, in contributing to the circular economy loop, instead of just calling it general waste. It makes much more sense if we call it landfill waste instead of general. So whenever we do awareness session, we say landfill waste, so it wouldn't get confusing.
Exactly.
It's some sort of inculcating it in the mind that this goes in the landfill.
Hi, Ceejay. Welcome to the Eco Sheroes Podcast. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for inviting us as well on your podcast.
It would be great if you could introduce yourself and your association with Dulsco, Ceejay.
Okay, so thank you, Pallavi. Let me start by introducing who Dulsco Group is. So it's a UAE-based or UAE-born company integrated with solutions provider with a portfolio of businesses such as Dulsco People, Dulsco Environment, Parissima, and Advanced Global Recruitment, or AGR. So Dulsco was launched 8 years ago, 1953, and started out as a workforce solutions provider, but now we've evolved into becoming a leader in people solutions as well, and also as the environmental solutions with over 3,500 clients across the range of sectors in the UAE. And we were also the official waste management partner back at Expo 2020, and that's where I started my role in related with Dulsco Environment. Started as a coordinator and now is working as the environmental officer in charge of various environmental activities under Environmental Solutions Department. So that's how I started my career, which is really related with my passion as being a good steward, for the next generation, because it works both ways, the environment and the next generation. So it aligns with what I love to do as well.
That's wonderful. Very nice. Can you give us a brief overview of how your waste collection center works? How do you collect the waste, and do you recycle them too at your facility, or the waste is sent for recycling to a third-party recycling company?
So we collect various materials with a dedicated fleet for each type that goes in our different facilities. And for example, in Abu Dhabi, the color coding would be only 2, black and green, but for Expo as such, we were really trying to divert waste away from landfill as much as we can. So there are 3 main categories. So before it even goes in our facilities, it gets segregated at source. That's what we want people to practice as well. So there and then at source, there's a segregation happening. Then it would there's a dedicated fleet for each type of materials. For example, separate for recyclables and separate for landfill. Then these types of material goes then now in our facilities, and we have multiple facilities such as material recovery facility, construction and demolition waste facility, which receives CND or construction waste, LTF or liquid treatment facility that receives oily sludge. We have refuser and fuel plant, which now which also accepts general waste. So in the future, we wouldn't need to dispose us in the landfill. And I would like to highlight material recovery facility.
Yeah.
So in this facility, this is where all of the mixed recyclable goes and gets further segregated.
Okay.
Now, we partner with local SMEs to further treat the recyclables that we collected. So far we have 36 different types of recyclables that are being further separated from each other and are prepared for further treatment.
Okay. So as you said, there are 36 types of recyclables which are segregated. So all of these are recycled in your facility, or is it sent to some third-party recycling company for further process?
There are materials that we don't recycle directly. So we partner with third parties or local SMEs because we want to support small businesses as well.
Yeah.
Startup businesses that, and we want to do it locally.
Yeah.
So instead of looking for a company that can recycle it outside, we'd rather support startup or local SMEs that treats the waste locally in the UAE. So there are materials that we don't recycle, and then those materials we just prepare them for further recycling, and it goes for the to the third party recyclers.
Okay, get it. And you mentioned liquid discharge, right? What can you emphasize? What kind of waste is that? Is that oil that comes from cooking, or what is it?
It's a liquid treatment facility. It receives, or it accepts rather, oily sludge that comes from the waste from the ships at the port. So it treats that. But we also collect oils, used cooking oils, and we partner with a third-party recycler that turns it into a biofuel.
Oh, nice.
So it goes in our material recovery facility as well.
Okay.
And then we distribute it to the third-party recyclers.
Oh, nice. So for the oil, I was inquisitive to know, can you send like for collection in communities, or is it only for commercial level recycling for the oil, which is usually from cooking oil, which is left out?
Usually it's with commercial because they have a dedicated or big kitchen. It goes in bulk. But we do showcase or work with communities as well.
Okay.
And if there's a requirement of collection for their used cooking oils, definitely that's something we can arrange.
Amazing.
Okay. Yeah, so it's either commercial or household or communities. If there's a request for it, then definitely that's something we can work on.
Wonderful. I actually saw your website and I found out you also do composting of wet waste, right? Dulsco does composting. So is it at is it a collection at community level from various households, or is that possible for you to arrange in future, or is it already existing, that facility?
Yeah. Similar with used cooking oil, composting is something that we can provide as well. So there are communities that we are working with, and there are even smaller units that can be placed inside your home on your countertop. So that's something we can also provide. But currently we have it in commercial spaces such as the malls, because there are a lot of food that's getting wasted there, so we want to treat that. But again, if there's a need, that's something definitely we can provide from the smallest size to the biggest size, depending on the waste generated.
Right. Yeah, I think that would be great. We should take it forward, and because many people don't have the time or the resources or to compost at home, and so
Correct.
much. Actually, 60% of our waste is wet waste, which comes from food scraps, vegetable scraps. So it would be great if that facility will also be provided. That will be wonderful.
Yes,
Very
yes.
nice.
It's something that's totally possible.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of people should be aware that there's this technology available for them.
Right.
So we also mentioned this when we do our awareness session on how can they improve their waste management even at their own houses or homes.
Very nice. And that actually reminds me of a plastic, which you must be knowing, PLA. PLA plastics, which are plant-based plastics. These can be composted only in industrial composters, right? So that also can be composted in your facility. Is it like an industrial composter or an aerobic composter outside?
Yeah. PLA, we usually suggest that it should be placed in a composting machine because it's something that can be treated same as the food waste. But if there's no resource such as composting, then at least it should be separated from the landfill waste because that's something we can accept in our material recovery facility in bulk.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, so that's something we can also accept in our facility for further segregation and decide where can be further treated instead of it just going in the landfill.
Okay, great. So suppose like I buy something from a cafe and they package it in a PLA container, and I'm confused. I need to put this in my plastic recycling, or I should put it in my wet waste, like which will go to the landfill ultimately.
And as long as it's not contaminated, by the way, because sometimes that's
it has to be
as
clean.
long as it's clean,
yeah,
it can go in your
plastic
plastic recycling, and if it's in bulk, not a single item, because we need to treat it or process it in bulk as well. Otherwise, it can contaminate the other materials because it's food or it's made out of organic materials.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So a single product, like from a household, which might collect maximum 1 or 2 containers. So that doesn't really work, right? That you said it might contaminate your whole recycling. Okay. So might be this works well for restaurants where they are serving in PLA.
Yes.
That
absolutely.
Yeah. I get it. Right. So yeah, I think you have. Can you walk us through the recycling process when waste arrives at your facility? Like, how do you separate different types of recyclables? Do you use any advanced technologies or machines to do that?
So in our facility, such as the material recovery facility, it can process up to 80,000 tons of materials per year. And the moment the dedicated fleet goes in the facility, then it's a semi-automated technology because we believe that there's nothing that can compare in a human eye to double check the material. So we have automatic technology and as well as manpower to ensure that there's further segregation. So the vehicle arrives at the facility, then it goes in our plant. And in this plant, there are 2D or 3D materials that separates metals. There's a magnet to it, separates the light and heavy papers. So it's not only just papers, cans, glass, but even the subcategories of each plastics or the weight of the papers are further segregated. That's why we're able to segregate 36 different kinds of recyclables. And those are from the subcategories of plastics, of papers, and cans as well.
Wow, very nice. What types of materials do you primarily recycle in your facility? And are there any you currently don't accept but would like to accept it in the future?
There are materials that we don't currently accept, such as hazardous waste,
Okay.
medical waste, because there's a dedicated approved facilities to treat those materials. But in terms of something that we want to treat in the future, is obviously the general waste. But as I've mentioned earlier, we invested in a facility which is called Refuse Derived Fuel Plant, which accepts general waste and turns it into an alternative fuel. So
Okay.
instead of cement industries using coal,
Yeah.
now plant accepts the general waste and then dries it and then treats it and turn it into an alternative fuel. So in terms of the future, we're actually now working on it
Wonderful.
towards that. So we're relocating our RDF plant, which was also launched back at Expo 2020 and helped us divert 91% of waste away from landfill with the help of this technology as well and our other facilities.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
So, from general waste, do you mean it includes everything, wet waste, dry waste, everything, which people
Yes.
will, just put it in their dustbins and which goes to the landfill? That's what you mean?
Yes, like contaminated tissues or crisps.
Okay.
Yes, but we mix it with a good amount because there's a specific density and calorification if you want to achieve a good quality of alternative fuel. So it should be a good mix. But nevertheless, this facility accepts general waste materials.
Okay, great. When it comes to recycling, most of us are confused about what to send for recycling. But you did mention that you accept up to 36 recyclables. That is a good news. But I have some questions regarding some materials. So I'll make this a bit of fun, like a rapid fire round, but it does not have to be rapid. I'll mention a material. You just need to answer if it can be recycled or not recycled. And also, if you can briefly explain why or how. So, this will give some clarity to people regarding what items should be segregated for recycling.
Okay.
Okay, great. So, cardboard with some oil residue.
Yes, this can be recycled, but as long as there's no food residue, so that it wouldn't contaminate the other clean recyclables where you dispose it.
Okay.
But yes, definitely this is a good type of material that we can recycle.
So even if it has oil, like, the food has left oil residue in it, we can recycle.
Yes, as long as it's not soaking with oil that
Of course,
it can contaminate the other materials. If it's just a residue, then that's something we can accept.
Oh, nice. Okay. So chips packets, I think it's a multi-layered packaging, right? Like plastic plus aluminum.
Yeah. We don't accept it in our material recovery facility, but our refuse derived fuel plant can accept it. It's not recyclable, but it goes in general waste, but we turn it into alternative fuel. But if the question is if it's recyclable, then the answer is no. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when you say alternative fuel, is that the waste to energy plant?
Similarly, yes. Because
you're not creating energy, but you're creating fuel from the waste.
Yes, fuel. So it's not
right. I get it. A plastic toothbrush.
This is not recyclable because sadly there's no technology available yet to separate because it's made out of a mixed type of plastic that's bound together. So it's not recyclable.
It's not, yeah.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
So that will also go to the general waste, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So when some plastic goes to general waste, when you are, in the process of making this fuel, waste to fuel, the process of converting this, especially because plastic, it emits carbon emissions, right? When it is incinerated. Actually, I'm quite ignorant to this process. So this question might sound very weird. If plastic is turning to fuel, are there more carbon emissions, or it is less than, the effect harm is less than it going to a landfill?
Every processes has carbon emissions in
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
But instead, that's why we're having these technologies that avoids this as much. So instead of just plastic breaking down at the landfill, which stays up to 1,000 years, then
Yeah.
definitely in terms
Yeah.
of carbon emissions, then it's
Yes.
better to treat it as as quick as possible. So in terms of emissions, I'd have to say it's less, though there are still, but there would be a reduction in it included. Instead of from the raw material, you make the plastic up until its end life
Right.
cycle
Yeah.
versus it getting treated at the facility, then definitely there's a reduction in it.
Okay, great. And toothpaste tubes, those.
It's the same with the toothbrush actually. So
Okay.
it's made out of
It won't be.
different types
It
of
can't be
plastic. So
recycled.
no.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Then plastic pens, markers, and all, those
Yeah.
stationery items.
For pens, yes, but for
Okay.
markers, no. Because it's made out of two different types of materials. For the pens, it can be mixed with the HDPE type of plastic, so that's
Mm.
recyclable. But for markers, no, because of the ink that's
Okay.
inside of the marker.
Okay.
So again, the technology is not yet here to separate those two
Right.
uh,
And
materials.
then
So
recycle it. Okay.
yes. Mm.
And but for pens also, like the general ball pens, they are
Mm.
made of many mixed plastics, right? As per
Mm.
my research. So, do you separate it? All parts, are they
Mhm.
separated? How does it happen?
Yeah, so usually, again, if it's in bulk, right, it's something that we can mix with the HDPE plastic, because
Okay.
the outer cover of the pen is
Right.
recyclable, but
Okay.
unlike the markers, the plastic in it is the one that has mixed plastics.
Okay.
So therefore, we can recycle markers, but for the pen, we can.
Right.
It depends on the material of plastic. Because
Okay.
if it's mixed, the
Mm.
technology, we don't have it yet. But
Okay.
if it's like made out of a specific grade of plastic,
Right.
then we can work at least on mixing it with a recyclable plastic.
Oh.
Um, so we can work on that. Third party recyclers have that capability to treat and recycle it.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Mhm.
Usually in food deliveries, we have those black plastic containers, and
Mhm.
there is some kind of research online that these black plastics cannot be recycled. Is that true?
So there are plastics that are called single use but not recyclables, because usually you'd see the recycling logo.
Right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that every time you see that recycling logo, it's
Mm.
recyclable. It's just
Okay.
defines the type
Right.
of plastic. So
Mhm.
there are seven main type of plastic, but there are even subcategories, 300 of each at least.
Mhm.
So that's why we have our material recovery facility, because we don't expect everyone to sorry, to memorize each subcategories,
Yeah.
but then it goes in our facility where we get to further decide and really look for recyclers who can treat it. But
Okay.
for the black takeaway
Yeah.
containers,
Yes.
if there's no contamination and if it has the recycling logo, then it can go in our facilities. Then we get to look for recyclers that can further treat it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So even if it is saying polypropylene in its
Mm.
triangle, you
Mhm.
as you suggest, I think it should be a subcategory of
Mhm.
polypropylene, is it? Because
Yes.
it's black. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that it's recyclable, but it
Uh-huh.
gets confusing, as you said. So
Yeah.
that's why we have these facilities.
Oh,
So we want people to really learn how to segregate at source.
right.
But we don't want to make it complicated as well. Instead of it everything just going to the landfill, then we'd rather have them segregate this recycling, the one that has recycling logo, then we get to see what to do with it. So at least they're also practicing a segregation at source, and
Yeah.
at the back end, we're doing the best we can as well to divert it away from landfill.
So you suggest that every household should try to segregate plastic, paper, separately, and then give it to you. So that will be more easy to sort the waste. Okay.
So usually there are two segregation, which is your landfill and your mixed recyclables. We call it mixed recyclables because it can be plastic. Because usually you'd see papers can separated. So somehow it's hard for people to pause and then throw. They just rather throw, right? Or dump their waste. But we're trying to really make it as easy as possible that if you think if it is recyclable, just put it in this bin. Then the segregation will do at the back end.
Okay.
Yes. So, but back at Expo, what our practice was, three bins.
Okay.
Food waste are separated, or we call it organic waste, because we have a composting machine that treats it instead of just that food waste goes in the landfill. One for general or landfill waste, and one for mixed recyclables.
Okay.
And if you notice, we mentioned
sorting at source. So what you mean is we need to sort the wet waste from the dry waste, from the dry.
Anything that can contaminate the recyclables should be separated. Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. Styrofoam, because you get a lot of packaging, styrofoam packaging. Is that recyclable?
Yeah. You'd see it has a recycling logo, but no, we don't recycle it really. It goes in the landfill because of the material. But still it's made out of plastic. So usually if you have a styrofoam, you'd see a
7
recycling recycling logo.
7 code or something. Yeah.
But no, it goes in the landfill bin.
Okay. So now you are doing those provisions for it to go to the making the fuel, right? Like
yes, correct.
That's wonderful. Nice. So a bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap.
Yeah, for packaging, they use these plastic bubble wraps.
So for the bubble wraps, that's something that we need to put in our, because it's still plastic. But again, since it's not a thick material type of plastic, so the quantity will matter. When we recycle it, because it will be challenging to recycle it in a small quantity because of the quality that will come out of it. So I have to say it's recyclable, but the quantity would matter a lot.
So I think it will work only at a commercial level.
Yes, commercial level.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Tetrapack bottles, because we get a lot of milk and juices in Tetrapack.
Yes. This is something, we can recycle this. We accept this as well in our facility.
So when suppose I'm putting my Tetrapack bottle into my dry waste, do I need to wash it and dry it before putting it in the waste?
As part of our guidelines, yes, we would like everyone to do that. At least if it has a little amount in it, it's okay. But if it's full or if it's half of it, then at least
at least empty it.
Empty it. You don't have to wash it, but at least empty it, so it doesn't affect the other recyclables.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Okay, great. So like an empty milk Tetrapack bottle can be just put into the recycling.
Yes.
Okay, great. Then plastic bottle caps, because I was told they are not recyclable. Can we put the plastic bottles with those caps?
Yes, we accept it in our facility and we consider it as recyclables.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Then glass bottles with oil residue in it, because when we buy these oil bottles, its washing it's really difficult, to remove the oil in it. So can we just put it in the...
Yes, it's something recyclable, and as long as it's just a residue, again, not soaking.
Not soaking. Yeah, just might be it has a lining of oil.
Yes, that's fine.
Empty. Yeah.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So even for plastic, even if it is a plastic bottle which has a lining of oil, it's okay.
Yes, but just residue.
Just residue. Yeah.
We don't want to contaminate the whole batch.
Exactly.
But also it's recyclable. So instead of it going in the landfill, we accept it because it's just a residue. That's something we can
Yeah.
worked on. Yeah.
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 Then plastic cutlery that is usually made of PVC, right? Like those
Mhm.
black spoons and white
Yeah.
spoons that you get in restaurants. Yeah.
Yes, we accept this as well
Oh,
in our
nice.
facility.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
So there are recyclers that can treat this
Okay.
material.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Because, that gets accumulated so much. Takeaway
Yeah.
deliveries.
Takeaways. Yeah.
Then plastic straws.
Yes, we also accept this, but not
Okay.
ideally in terms of quantity again.
Yeah.
Because it's a low grade type of plastic, but
Yes.
if it's in bulk, then again, this is something that we can
Recycle.
definitely work on. Yes,
Okay.
recycle.
Nice. Yeah. Then these thin grocery or garbage bags, which you take
Yeah.
for picking vegetables, they are very thin, right? So
Mm,
are those recyclable?
yes, back then we don't treat it as that, but
Yeah.
again, in terms of quantity,
Yeah.
then this is what we're considering now because there are technologies
Okay.
that can recycle this. So yes, we accept it in our facility.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
But suppose at a household level, we are putting that in recycling, it will go to the waste to
Yes.
fuel line, right? Like,
Yes. Yes. So it would get further segregated. And the quantity wouldn't be enough. Then our material recovery facility separates these materials that can be used in our refuse derived fuel plant to turn it into alternative fuel. So it's going to be a good mix of what was segregated in our facility and what is supposed to be sent to the landfill.
Right. Okay. Nice. I already asked you about the PLA plastic products. So again, it has to be in bulk, yeah, from commercial. I mean, it works for commercial, not on a
household
level. But again, it will go to the general waste category.
Yes.
Okay. Then plastic toys.
Yes, this is recyclable. We consider it as recyclable. Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay. Then do you also accept clothes, worn out clothes? Clothes made of mixed fibers, cotton plus polyester?
Yes, in our material recovery facility.
Yeah.
Because there are third parties that turns these materials into carpets, etc. Something that can be reused again.
Oh, nice.
So there are companies that
that recycle
further repurpose it and recycle it into
wonderful. So even if it's a
materials.
combination fabric like cotton.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. And medicine strips. Usually it is a mixture of aluminum and plastic, right? So is that, can we put that
we don't because it's a mixed material. In terms of technologies, there's no, we can segregate or separate them. So no, we don't consider this as recyclable.
Okay. But like, what do I do with it? Can I just put it? It will go to the general waste.
Landfill. Yes. Landfill.
Waste. Landfill. It won't even go to the general waste. Yeah. It will be applicable for that waste to fuel.
That's something that, if it's a piece, I don't think that's something that can be, removed but if it's a bulk order, then that's a different topic because it's medical,
right. Yeah.
supply. And
so like when I'm using my medicine regularly, I collect a lot of these strips. So what do you suggest? I should add it to my mixed recyclables or
no, it goes in your landfill. So we call also general waste a landfill waste. For the sake of really inculcating it in the mind, it's some sort of awareness that it goes in the landfill. So be mindful instead of just calling it general waste. It makes much more sense if we call it landfill waste instead of general. So whenever we do awareness session, we say landfill waste so it wouldn't get confusing.
Exactly.
It's some sort of inculcating it in the mind that this goes in the landfill.
Correct.
It might be a nomenclature, but it makes a huge difference.
Yes.
What we call, where we dispose our waste or bins.
Exactly. Yeah, true. Then plastic lined paper and cardboard products, because a lot of takeaway packaging, food packaging comes with this plastic lining, even coffee cups for that matter.
We accept this because
Okay.
if you would notice this paper and cardboard only have usually the plastic would be a small, you
Ah,
know,
only those types. Okay.
cover of plastic. So it's mainly
Those ones.
paper. So
Ah,
it's mainly paper. So that
okay.
goes in the category of paper
No,
cardboard.
I
So it's
mean to say the
recyclable.
glossy cardboard, which has a like very fine plastic lining stuck to the cardboard all over. Uh,
Oh, you mean like it's a
it's
cover
like
of it?
waterproof. Fine, frankly speaking, that cardboard is waterproof. So, like
Mm,
even for coffee cups, it's lined
yeah.
with plastic lining, so that's why it doesn't leak, right? Like
Yes. For those materials, it goes in the general or landfill
landfill
bin
waste. Yeah.
because the technology to separate so
Um,
it's the same principle for
yes.
the materials. If it's mixed materials such as like the toothbrush we mentioned earlier, crisps, um, chocolate wrap, or even this type of cardboard, glossy cardboard containers. The principle is if it's mixed materials, there's no technology yet to
To extract.
separate. Yes, to
Yeah.
extract them. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we need to try and reduce them as much as possible.
Yes. And be really mindful
Mindful of
and
using.
reusing what you currently have that you
Yeah.
can be reuse
Yeah.
over and over again.
Very true. And then these balloons, yeah, balloons are a big
Mm,
part of celebrations and decorations. So yeah,
yeah. It's no,
yeah.
and because it's made of mixed plastics,
Mm.
and it's thin as well and stretchy. So, it goes in the
Okay.
landfill bin.
Mm, that's it. Very small single-use plastic containers, which are used like for those sauces, 60 ml, 30 ml.
Yeah.
It can be
No, it's
recycled.
also in the landfill bin,
Mm.
because it's mainly contaminated.
Oh,
Even
okay.
if you use it up, it's
Yeah.
contaminated
But
inside.
if we
So,
if we clean it, like suppose I get some food
mm,
delivery home and it has
mm,
like these small containers, but I wash it, I dry it, and
yeah,
then I put it. So, but I was doubtful that because of its size, can it be
yes.
recycled?
And even the quantity. So similar with the materials we discussed earlier.
Right.
So it would make much more sense if it's in bulk, like in restaurant or commercials. So usually it ends up in the landfill bin, but
Oh,
again, goes in our facility to
yeah.
further treats it. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah. And this soiled wooden cutlery, wood products, can it be recycled or is it need to be composted?
Yes. So it doesn't go in our recycling bin.
Yeah.
Should be in our organic bin, what we call, because
Yeah.
that's what goes in the composting machine. But
Okay.
it's not. We don't put it in your recycling bin.
Okay.
Rather,
But if it's
in
a dry wooden cutlery, like which is not used, it can be recycled. Should it be sent for recycling or again like composted?
it's composting, so
Compost.
goes in the landfill bin.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Get it. Then electronic waste.
Yes.
Uh,
This is
all the
recyclable
parts
for
are
sure.
recyclable, yeah, in electronic waste.
I don't think all, such as batteries.
Okay.
There are some, hazardous component in it,
Oh,
so we can't say it's recyclable, but
okay.
it can be treated. So
Okay.
those are two different things. But electronic waste in general is something we can recycle.
Okay.
But if we would go in bits and pieces of it, then there are some like the ones that has mercury in it, which is
Mhm.
hazardous.
Right.
Then definitely no, it goes in the hazardous
Okay.
waste category.
Okay.
Yeah, but in general, electronic waste, yes, it's
Mm. Right.
recyclable, but it must be separated
Right.
in a
Yeah.
box, just e-waste as we
Oh,
call
is
it.
it? Okay. We should not
Mm.
put it all I mean, in the same
In
dry
the mixed
recycle.
recyclable, no. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because the dedicated fleet that collects the recyclables have compacting machines inside. So materials
Oh,
would be compacted or crushed. It's a dedicated vehicle. So usually for e-waste, there's a separate box for it. But if it's
okay.
in bulk quantity, then a bin.
Okay.
And then we provide usually a 3-ton pickup, which doesn't have a compacting machine inside, just to collect it
Right.
and bring it in our facility.
Okay. Okay. So, like, suppose I have to I need to pack it in a separate box and give it as
Yes,
electronic
separate.
waste.
Yes.
Okay, great. And yeah, the last one is medical waste. But
Mhm.
do you have any plans to collect medical waste? Like you said, you don't accept it
Mhm.
now, but any plans to collect? Because that's a big problem. Many of us, we don't know how to,
Yeah.
discard our expired medicines or unused medicines. We don't know what to do with it.
We actually collect it, but we
Uh-huh.
just don't treat it. So
Okay, you send it
um
to third party.
to DM approve the
Okay,
facilities because it
okay,
must be approved by the
okay.
municipality where we dispose this because it's medical waste.
Yes.
So we collect it, but
Okay,
then we then take it to approved facilities
okay,
that further treats these materials.
okay. So, suppose in all the households in the community, if we give our medical waste separately, properly packed with, a proper
Mhm.
label mentioned it is hazardous medical
Mhm.
waste. I mean, will that be okay? Like we can hand over to the
Yeah, this can be an on-call, basis collection.
Okay.
This is what was also done back during COVID.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we did.
okay.
It was even, it did not halted during our operations. Even it grew
Mm,
during the pandemic. So that operations grew due to the medical waste, being
yes.
used. So we collect it, but we don't treat it, and it's can be done even at home, so like on-call basis.
Okay, nice.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. That's a good information.
We provide recycling centers even in the communities. Now we have 6 or 7 recycling centers that are located in strategic locations in Abu Dhabi, such as the park where people can bring their waste and segregate it.
Ah, nice.
If they don't have resources at home, it
Right.
would even include used cooking oils. They can put it there.
Ah,
And this recycling center is the electricity that's used is run by solar panels to run the whole recycling center. Then this is where they can dispose the pens as well. Because then it goes in our facilities, then further
right.
segregate.
No, I don't want to
But in terms of Dulsco, this is an initiative that we're doing in
one.
partnership with the municipality, and it is growing towards all of the Emirates,
Okay, great.
providing these recycling centers where people get an opportunity to segregate if they don't have resources at home. They bring
Mm,
it outside and now learn how to segregate at source. Then we do our part at the back end as a solutions provider as well.
very nice. Yeah. So in Dubai also you have this recycling center.
So
Uh,
this is a work in progress because again,
okay.
this would be something that in terms of location where you put it,
Yeah, yeah.
it
Mm,
would require approval. Or again, if
okay.
this is required by authorities, definitely we can work on it. But what we had in Abu Dhabi was in partnership and requested by the municipality. So again, we
Okay.
provided it. So in such, but if there's a need, then definitely this is something we can provide.
Wonderful.
This was done by our in-house workshop team.
Okay.
So they thought of how to improve recycling at source in communities that don't have enough resources. And
Mm.
even our in-house workshop team collects bulky waste, or accepts rather bulky waste, and turn it into, or upcycle it into a new furnitures,
Oh,
such
nice.
as oil barrels, or pallets
Okay.
into tables, etc. So there's a
Mm.
lot of initiatives really being done. It's a matter of providing this to the community, so that they know that there's actually happening with what they're disposing.
Yes, yes. And I think this makes
It
it
just doesn't
makes
end up
yeah,
at the landfill. Yeah.
yeah. And it also
Yeah.
makes us more mindful of reducing the waste, I guess.
Yes. Mm.
So much is, it's a challenge, right? To
Yes.
deal with waste. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. How do you handle non-recyclable materials that end up in
Hmm.
the recycling stream, like in the waste?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we
generally.
have we call this stream as end of belt stream that
Oh, okay.
then goes in our refuse derived fuel plant, or
Ah,
RDF,
what
that
is that?
turns it into
Refuse?
refuse derived fuel plants, or
Oh,
RDF, where this would turn into alternative fuel.
refuse
So
derived.
for
Okay.
fuel plant, yeah. So
Okay.
there are materials that somehow ends up in our facility, recycling
Yeah.
material recovery facility, but then we consider it as end of belt materials that can then be rerouted into our another facility,
Okay.
um,
Right.
to avoid disposing it in the landfill.
Exactly. That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah. There is a question by many people who segregate their waste in different bags according to the material, like
Mhm.
tins, all the cans in one bag, the plastic
Mhm.
waste in one, cardboard in one. But when the waste collection happens, it's all combined and put into the trucks. So people have this notion that it's not being recycled. But now you have explained that there are sophisticated machines which do sort these things. But I would like to know that is it more convenient to carry all recyclable waste combined, or doesn't it take more effort for workers to sort it or the machines to sort it?
Mhm. So actually for Dulsco, we see recyclables are as a valuable commodity. So we don't call it waste, we call it resources. And it wouldn't make sense for us to just dispose it in the landfill from the business point of view, right? But it's important for us to collect recyclables. So that's what the machines are for, to segregate
Okay.
it. That's what they're made for, the material recovery facility. And it would seem like a lot of effort to do it, but in reality it's just a lack of awareness,
Mm,
that they don't know that the moment there's an impact in everything that they do, that
yeah.
even if they dispose the one plastic bottle correctly, it
Mm,
actually already saved up what 500 years at least of it degrading from the landfill by itself. So
yes.
there's an impact. If it's just one bottle, but there are 50 people, then how many years
Yeah.
is that combined? So and it's not just a matter of, collecting it, or it's really a matter of awareness that
Yeah.
usually, even me back then, I don't even know this. I thought, okay, why would I even segregate? Until, there are people who would show me that we turn this into a new product, and they compare it versus starting from scratch of making
Yes.
this product, such as aluminum cans. If
Yeah.
you produce aluminum cans, would take so many resources for so many time, expenses, etc., versus aluminum can being recycled within 60 days. It goes back to its shelf life with the same quality as the new
Very.
produced aluminum. I didn't know that until someone, shared it to me. So it's
Right.
it's really a matter of awareness sessions that I think people appreciate it when they know what's happening with what they're doing, because somehow it makes them feel involved in the process, in contributing to the circular economy loop. It's not just us as Dulsco, at having the facilities would be considered as the last resort. That's why
Yeah.
we're keen on doing awareness session to start it from source. How can you segregate better? We also provide these resources such as color coded bins or brandings.
Mm.
So really from the triangle hierarchy, we try
Yes.
to as much start with reducing, then reusing, and then the last would be us recycling it or treating it.
Right.
So in all of our with all of our clients, we have awareness sessions.
Yeah.
We do awareness sessions with them because but it doesn't end there. We provide resources. And
Yes.
then it goes in our facility that then turns it into a new product. So it's a full circle, and we call it a 360-degree recycling program for all
Okay.
of our clients, that it would give them an assurance that
Yes.
whatever they're doing are making sense or
Yeah.
contributing, to saving the environment and even their businesses in terms of
Absolutely.
costs.
Yes.
So it's
Absolutely.
really the lack of awareness session mainly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
mm.
So, are there any misconceptions about recycling that you'd like to address? Because You are the authority in this. So,
Actually, I think I'll just share what even I thought was a misconception, which is what
okay.
we just talked about now. That,
Yeah.
why would I even segregate? It would get mixed up anyway. But
Yeah.
in reality,
Mm.
there are facilities that further segregates, really do their best to recycle this, because people wouldn't have that chance or opportunity to do it at their home or their houses or their place. So that's one thing that segregation is really effective.
Okay.
um,
Great.
it's really effective. Not only that you change your habits or thinking, you
Yes.
are more mindful, you take some time, but also you can see the impact of it. So
Yes.
there's a passed on impact to it. In other countries like Korea, it's a place where segregation is a law. It's before they dispose it outside their homes, they do it, and now children do it as well. So
Mm.
it's somehow passed on. So
Yeah.
segregation really has an impact. It might not look like it, but I think it's starting now that people are realizing that. And also, there's a misconception that it's hard to reduce my waste,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
there are so many
Yeah.
alternatives, like what you're doing as well, right? Providing an
Yeah.
alternative that could be reused over and over again,
Yeah.
bringing your own bottles, or sometimes it's the convenience for us, but in
Mm.
the long run, it's really unhealthy in terms of it's not sustainable. May it
Absolutely.
be in may it be in finances, right? You keep buying and buying instead of just getting your own bottle. So it's not hard. That's one misconception. It's not hard to reduce your waste. It's really a matter of practice. It's a change of habit, and of sticking to it. It's a commitment. So I think those are my two main misconceptions. There are so many, but I think those are the two mains. It's not hard to do it. It's a matter of committing to it, which would then, correlate with our lifestyle, and segregation works. Those are the
Yeah.
two main, I think, misconceptions I'd like to highlight.
Very, very
Yeah.
important. Yeah, that's such great advice. Like a great
Thank you.
misconceptions you busted.
Thank you.
Okay, great. I got so much knowledge from this, and many of my misconceptions when it comes to recycling certain waste has been addressed. It was a very great session. Thank you so
No.
much, CJ. It will help so many of us to, segregate properly. Yeah, and it also helps us reduce, right? Which the waste which is not recyclable. And frankly speaking, I think plastic also cannot be recycled uh, forever, isn't it?
Mhm.
I think its quality goes on reducing, right? After.
Yes, it's reduced. That's why it's better that you have your own reusable
Exactly.
materials versus the convenience that the plastic gives to us.
Yes,
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah. So it was a great session. Thank you so much. Very,
Thank
very
you, Pallavi.
fruitful.
Really, thank you for this opportunity as well
Thank you
to
so much
share.
for sharing this knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.